previous videos, we came to know about the authoress Annis Chung and the overview of the story Lost Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood, Chapter 2 in our Flamingo book. Now in this video, that is the fourth part of my video, we shall read the text thoroughly. Now Lost Spring, the very title is metaphorical. Spring symbolizes gaiety and mirth. It's a season of festivity. It's a season of joy, happiness. On the other hand, the stories of these two children are totally different. They are full of gloom and despondency due to their poverty-stricken condition. Now, lost spring, that means their childhood is stolen from them. They're deprived of the basic amenities of life. They're deprived of the golden period of childhood when usually children play, children enjoy their life with toys and all, and they get parental love. But here the children are working, and child labor, which is illegal, that is indulged by the parents here. Why? Because of poverty. So their childhood is totally lost, and that's why the title Lost Spring is very much symbolic. Spring represents here childhood, and their childhood is totally lost. It's missing from them. Now the story begins like this: sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage. This is said by Saheb. Now the narrator asked, "Why do you do this?" I asked Saheb, whom I encounter every morning scrounging for gold in the garbage dumps of my neighborhood. So Saheb was seen by the narrator scrounging for gold in the garbage dumps every morning in his neighborhood. Now Saheb is a rag picker, and he left his home long ago, during his early childhood, which he did not remember. Set amidst the green fields of Dhaka, his home is not even a distant memory. So there lies a question that his home is not even a distant memory. If you have the book, you just put within bracket and write why. Because there lies a question, short answer type question, why his home is not even a distant memory. So there were many storms that swept away their fields and homes, his mother tells him. During his early childhood, he had to leave Dhaka, and from his mother, he came to know that there were many storms. That means natural calamities as well as many adversities in life. That's why they left looking for gold in the big city where he now lives. So that's why they left looking for gold. What does it mean? Looking for gold means looking for money, looking for better livelihood in the big city where he now lives. I have nothing else to do, he mutters. Who said this? Saheb, looking away. Then the narrator said, "Go to school." I say glibly, realizing immediately how hollow the advice must sound. Yes, the narrator asked here very silly question to Saheb, who is unable to quench his belly, and the narrator asked him to go to school. So it's a very idiotic question asked by the narrator here, and the narrator ultimately confessed that it was a very shallow question she asked. There's no school in my neighborhood. When they build one, I'll go. Because the childhood is there, the innocence is there in Saheb. Maybe he is a rag picker, but the innocence remains same in all children, irrespective of their status and standard. That means irrespective of their poverty or richness. Now, Sahib said that there's no school in the neighborhood. When they build one, I'll go. That means actually building school is building castle in the air. That means that's a long process. But Sahib did not understand that. So his innocence is revealed. If I start a school, will you come? The narrator asked. I asked half joking. That means the narrator asked jokingly. Again the narrator's question is very silly. Yes, he says, smiling broadly. Now Sahib smiled broadly. What does it indicate? That means he is so happy and he is very optimistic. He thought that the narrator would build a school and there he could go and have his education. A few days later, I see him running up to me. Is your school ready? Now, after a few days, Sahib ran to the narrator and asked whether his school was ready or not. And the narrator felt very embarrassed for asking such a silly question, and it takes longer to build a school, the narrator said, very embarrassed. And the narrator became very uneasy and embarrassed at having made a promise that was not meant. But promises like mine abound in every corner of his bleak world. This is a very important line, that promises like mine. That means narrator asked a silly question unknowingly to Sahib, and he also said that promises like mine abound in every corner of his bleak world. So whose bleak world is referred to here? Sahib's bleak world, because Sahib's world is bleak, despondent and gloomy, because he is engulfed by darkness. He is engulfed by darkness of poverty, where their childhood is stolen, where he is unable to quench up his appetite. He is deprived of his parental love. He is deprived of the basic amenities of life, because he is just a rag picker. And the capitalist class, or the rich people, the influential people, often make fake promises to these children, that means poverty-stricken children, and they rarely keep. So after minutes, the narrator understood that he should not have made such a promise. I ask him his name, Sahib Alam, he announces. Then the narrator asks Sahib his name. His full name is Sahib Alam, and this is very much ironical according to the meaning of his name. He does not know what it means. If he knew its meaning, Lord of the Universe. That means Sahib means Lord of the Universe, and Sahib is a poverty-stricken boy, rather a child. So this is contrast to each other, the meaning of his name and his name. He would have a hard time believing it, but he doesn't understand the meaning of his name. Now, unaware of what his name represents, he roams the streets with his friends, an army of barefoot boys who appear like the morning birds and disappear at noon. That means even they are deprived of the basic amenities of life, they're deprived of proper food, they're deprived of proper clothes and all. They are happy. This reveals their innocence. Like the morning birds, they all flock together. The morning birds flock together, they enjoy their life. Similarly, these rag pickers, despite having poverty and all, they enjoy their life. Over the months, the narrator has come to recognize each of them. That means all the rag pickers are known to the narrator. Now again the narrator asked one of them that why aren't you wearing chappals? Then the answer is, my mother did not bring them down from the shelf. He answers simply. So, here also, the answer is to avoid embarrassment, and they always want to hide their poverty-stricken condition. So one of the rag pickers answered in that way that my mother did not bring them down from the shelf. Even if she did, he will throw them off, adds another, who is wearing shoes that do not match. Now when the narrator comments, he shuffles his feet and says nothing. That means he feels embarrassed. Shuffling. One shuffles his feet. What does it indicate? That means lack of confidence, and says nothing. Just said, I want shoes, says a third boy, who has never owned a pair all his life. Traveling across the country, I have seen children walking barefoot, the narrator is saying, and is young, in cities on village roads. So it is not lack of money but a tradition to stay barefoot is one explanation. So what is the reason behind it? The reason behind it is, first of all, poverty is one of the main reasons, and another is tradition also compels them to remain barefoot. So I wonder, that means the narrator wonders that if this is only an excuse to explain away a perpetual state of poverty, that means it's just an excuse to explain away a perpetual, that means a continuous state of poverty. They are always poverty stricken and they are accustomed to it. They cannot come out from the shackles of poverty. So naturally, they believe in that, they are accustomed to it, and they don't know how to come out, and they enjoy their childhood in that way as they are habituated.